With Starfleet's starships of the line being called for more and more repair tasks, the powers that be would decide to commission the Derf Class to allow Starfleet's best starships to resume their exploration duties. But what do we know about this interesting and important starship design? Well, today we'll find out. Hello and welcome to another episode of Truth or Myth Beta Canon, a Star Trek web series that dives into the history of any given topic using beta canon sources and my own imagination to fill in the gaps. In today's episode, we're taking a look at the Derf Class as first seen in the FASA Federation Ship Recognition Manual to better understand its place in Star Trek history. Please note, this is another one of those interesting starship classes that I decided to kitbash into life. Oftentimes, you good trinaries will make general requests for me to review starship classes that support the infrastructure of the Federation, and so ask and you shall receive, as the Derf Class plays an important role behind the scenes of what makes the Federation and Starfleet work so smoothly. But as always, because this is just a beta canon video, all information relayed should pretty much be taken with a grain of stardust and only considered a little bit of Star Trek fun. And so, with all that out of the way, let's begin. By the early 23rd century, the United Federation of Planets was growing by leaps and bounds, and so too were the organization's space-dwelling assets. Navigational beacons, communications arrays, and space telescopes were just a few of the important assets among many that Starfleet Command now had to monitor and maintain. The first few decades of the 23rd century would see starships pulled from their normal duties in order to repair any malfunctioning assets. But as these space assets also grew by leaps and bounds, so too did the obvious need for a specially designed starship class in order to keep them all in ship shape. Minor maintenance of these assets would generally be an easy affair. However, due to the limitations of starship designs of the time, should one of these assets require more substantial repairs, the entire asset would have to be towed to a starship facility, repaired, and then towed back to its original position, and this was a time-consuming venture. The 2240s would see a technological explosion the likes of which no one had seen before in Starfleet's history. The breakthrough of dualtronic technology, thanks to the boy genius Dr. Richard Daystrom, would revolutionize Starfleet and the Federation in a way no one had ever thought possible. Suddenly, classes like the Constitution class, and those designed and constructed in her image, would push the boundaries of the Federation even further and even faster than Starfleet could cope with. And so, Starfleet Command would approach its starship design teams to create a vessel class that could conduct deep space repair and construction duties on their space assets without the need for a starbase to be involved. And by 2246, the Derf Class would be born. Sitting at a length of 274 meters, the Derf Class would be designed to be operated by 72 officers and engineers. A Scottish word meaning bold or daring, the Derf Class's design would be very different than any other starship class that had come before it. A dual nacelle design, the Derf Class's pylons would be extended and brought closer together, giving this class a very unusual appearance. However, the reason for this design choice would come from the class's intended function. Not only could the starship repair space-dwelling assets for the Federation, but its unique design would allow the Derf Class to actually easily tow new assets at high warp to newly established locations within the final frontier. And thanks to its unique design and starship profile, the Derf Class would end up having a standard safe cruising speed of warp factor 6, with an emergency maximum speed of warp factor 9 for 8-hour increments, all old warp scale of course. Tactically, the Derf Class would contain the complement of weaponry that had become standard for the dualtronic era. This included several dual emitter phaser banks, now capable of sustained phaser fire, as well as 2 photon torpedo launching systems. Shielding for the Derf Class would also be standard for the time. The Derf Class would also contain 2 drop-style shuttle bays within its design. However, rather than containing a plethora of shuttlecraft, these bays would be filled with auxiliary spacecraft all designed for repair duties. The Derf Class's cargo complex would be one of the most jam-packed and yet highly organized facilities included aboard a Starship class. The cargo transporter system of the Derf Class would also be improved and expanded, which would allow for larger objects to be transported, as well as an ability to target and beam specific components from a damaged asset for repairs. The Derf Class's shakedown cruise would go off without a hitch, and with all expectations for the class met, Starfleet Command would order the Derf Class into full production, assigning the construction contract to that of the Merrick shipyard, at a rate of at least 4 constructed per year. By 2265, 75 starships of the Derf Class would be repairing and maintaining Federation assets throughout the Alpha and Beta quadrants with very little effort. One notable incident, however, would occur late in that year, when the USS Acropolis, under the command of Captain Severest, was dispatched to repair a navigational marker buoy near Klingon space. Before the crew could begin repairs on the buoy, however, the ship would come under attack, and was eventually captured by a Klingon D-7 battlecruiser. Starfleet intelligence later learned that the reason for this act was the hope of learning a way of altering Federation navigational beacons along the Federation-Klingon borderline to give the Empire an advantage in what they believed would be an upcoming and inevitable war. Although a second Federation-Klingon war did break out in 2267, the entire mess would be cut short thanks to the Organians, whom themselves would impose a peace treaty on both sides. And any plans to sabotage the Federation's nav beacon systems would never come to fruition. The Organian peace treaty would force the Klingon Empire to turn over to the Federation the 43 remaining crew members of the now dismantled USS Acropolis, an operation overseen by Commodore Matthew Decker of the USS Constellation. The launch of the Constitution-class refit USS Enterprise in the early 2270s would spell the end of the Derf Class, with new, far more advanced and far more capable starship designs taking up the fleet mantle. Starfleet Command would begin decommissioning the class, with the USS Derf itself taking its final bow in 2283. Created as a repair vessel design in order to free starships of the line from these sorts of mundane duties, the Derf Class would end up becoming a major component of the infrastructure that held the Federation together in the mid-23rd century, earning this class its undisputed vital place in Starfleet and Federation history. Thank you for watching today's episode of Truth or Myth Beta Canon. What do you think of the Derf Class and the historical narrative that I've created here? Do you want to see more videos like this one? Well, leave your comments in the section below, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, hitting that little bell icon so you won't miss a single video we release. Want to help the channel repair all the isolated space assets within the Final Frontier? Then consider becoming a channel member subscriber or a channel patron, both a major help that allows this channel to purchase resources and 3D models to keep it going. The link to both memberships is in the description below. Thanks again for watching, live long, and prosper.